Good morning, everybody, and welcome to the August 10th, 2023 Board of Selectmen meeting, both again in virtual, in person and over the internet via Zoom. And as always, we'll start the meeting with the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Actually, I apologize. If we could stand for one moment, just for a moment of silence for Robert Rowena, who was a longtime Greenwich resident and volunteer here in town who just recently passed away. Thank you. Okay. Is there a motion to approve the minutes for the regular meeting of July 27, 2023?
Lauren Rabin, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Rabin, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I'll start the updates. This is going to be a very short meeting, it looks like, so updates will be pretty short, too. We have some more good news. Greenwich was again ranked as one of the safest towns in America, which is another ranking like that, such ranking in the last couple of weeks. This one was from the real estate and analytics firm Neighborhood Scout, and they had us at 87, whereas, was it Money Geek had us at 10th in the country. So it's good to be in the top 100. We want to keep going down further towards that 10 spot, but certainly hats off to our Greenwich Police Department and all our first responders for keeping us safe here in town. We're very, very proud of that. And as I said in one of the papers, we don't take the foot off the pedal. We don't take our eye off the ball. We certainly know that everything is evolving. We have to continue to work hard and know that every town in America is a target, so we want to make sure that we continue to do very well when it comes to protecting the public. So congratulations to all around there, and especially our police department. Commissioner Mark Boughton of Revenue Services came by on July 28th and visited Greenwich. We showed him 3 spots. We wanted to show him a 4th. Which would have been the beach for some coastal resiliency possibilities. So I sent him a nice email. Mark is an old friend and colleague, and he was very good. He came down here. He gave us some helpful hints about possible revenue that would be available to do some long-standing projects. We took him to the dam in Pembroke, which we recently had inspected. We also took him to a couple of bridges that are part of a federal project that we're sharing with New York, and he would reach out to his counterpart in New York State. And then we took him to the dump, the transfer station, which is something that's been going on almost 4 decades now that we want to do. And he seemed to think because there's a public safety component there where we have to we'd like to relocate some of our first responders' vehicles there because a lot of them are in flood zones. We want to make sure that those vehicles are ready to go in case of an emergency. And he thought that was very, very significant and would help us when we apply for possible revenue grants. So that revenue would be very much needed and would help push several projects forward. So we thank Mark Boughton for coming down here, and we're in contact with him as we speak. So that was all good news. A few months ago, we did a tree dedication for Elmer Diaz, and the plaque came in. We have a rock to put it on now, so any day now that will be going up, and we'll send something out to the family. As I was walking around Central Greenwich this weekend, I ran into one of his little cousins, and I told her, and they were very, very excited about that. So I'll get that out there shortly. The Glenville Forum that we're planning to do will be on the 14th of Monday. I believe it's going to be 6 o'clock, probably at the Glenville Fire Station, but we'll confirm that. We just want to update everybody on lots of things that are going on the western side of town in Lawrence neighborhood. So we're looking forward to that. I think there's some good news there for all. On the 21st, I'll be doing another Greenwich Fire Department swearing in. Lots of people in both the fire department and police department coming through the academy, so we're getting up to full strength, which is another good sign. On the 22nd, I'll be at the Byron Vets for Teresa Mead's retirement party. Looking forward to that. Congratulations to Teresa. And last night was the first night of the St. Roch's Feast. It was a great night there. Weather was terrific. I don't know about later on today. We're getting lots of warnings about rain on the way, so hopefully that will hold off for St. Roch. But if not, we'll certainly be there again on Friday and on Saturday. Those are the big nights. And if you haven't been there before and you like pizza, there's a different type of pizza called pizza frite. If you're reading it, it says pizza frita, but we call it pizza frites. You could get it with sauce and cheese or sugar. And as a kid, I liked both, but I'd stay away from that sugar for your kids now. But anyway, it's a great time. It serves a great purpose, and it's one of our oldest Catholic churches in the town of Greenwich. So hopefully we'll see you all there, and I'll turn it over to Lauren, who I saw there last night.
Yes, I prefer sauce and cheese over the sugar. So it was delicious last night, and yeah, like you said, beautiful weather. I am returning from vacation, so catching up a little bit to emails and what's going on in town, but was able to attend my building committee meetings this week. So if you go by Greenwich High School, there's been work started already to get the site ready for the improvements to the entrance and the security vestibule. From Central Middle School, we're very busy looking at everything that we can value engineer to get the estimated costs of the rebuild of that school lower. And then finally, one of our state representatives had sent us some information about applying for grants for capital improvements for senior centers. So I know that Ben and Lori Contadino are already talking about what we could do there, since we do have a lot of capital improvements that are going to be happening at, now it's called the Wallace Center. So look forward to another night at St. Roch's and getting more up to speed on what I missed while I was away. Thank you.
Thank you, Lauren, and good news there in the senior center. And we continue to have public-private partnerships going on there, and maybe another one may be on the way there for part of the senior center. So that's all good. Good morning, Janet.
Good morning. So we're coming up on the anniversary of the board's approval of a climate resolution, which directs the town to develop a climate action plan by this coming December. The Conservation Commission has been hard at work, and its first step is to conduct a community survey. So the survey is very simple. It should take no more than 10 minutes. And the easiest way for me to direct residents to the survey is to go to the town website, that's greenwichct.gov, and search on climate survey. It's understood that many residents are away on vacation, but no worries. The survey will remain open through September. And to those of you who've already taken it, thank you. And then likewise, I've been attending our school building committees, and I've asked that the Zoom links to all school building committee meetings be posted on the town calendar. This is after several members of the public had trouble finding the link to the CMS building committee meeting last week. So the building committees are town committees, so even though the links can be found on the BOE's website, I agree that they should also appear on the town calendar. So a thank you to Ken Borsak and the BOE staff who are helping with this request. On the topic of school building committees, I'd like to note that the Old Greenwich School Building Committee went before P&Z on Tuesday, that's Planning and Zoning, for a municipal improvement pre-application hearing, which was very positive and productive. So a huge thank you to the building committee members who have continued to meet every other Tuesday at 7 a.m. through the summer. And last but not least, Planning and Zoning will be holding public input workshops for proposed lighting and signage regulation updates, with particular interest to input from businesses. I realize P&Z matters don't fall under the auspices of this board, but when questions about proposed mural projects and dark skies arise, these regulations are very important. So please stay tuned and tune in. And that's all from me.
Thank you, Janet. Okay, going on to old business, I don't see any, but I do want to mention that I've reached out to Deputy Chief Gray about Davenport to have more further discussions on that there. So we will hopefully have some information there for those residents shortly. And then going on to new business, only one item there, which is a request to review and appoint the Historic District Commission to be the study committee for the Putnam Cottage or Knapp's Tavern. And I think I saw Suzanne.
Oh, no, it's Ann Young.
Ann Young is going to be, okay. I'll wait for you to promote Ann. It's one of our oldest buildings in town with lots of history. Good morning, Ann. I think you have to unmute.
Unmute.
There you go.
Click unmute again.
Still having an issue there.
And it looks like you may not have joined computer audio. Oh, you're joining now. Now unmute.
Now can you hear me? Yeah. Yay! Thank you. And I'm sorry there was a delay because I know the meeting is moving quite smoothly and quickly. But I am so delighted to be here again to have you all consider having the Historic District Commission be appointed the study committee for one of the town's treasures, Putnam Cottage, which is, overseen by the Israel Putnam House Association, and I apologize for not getting that title correctly. But we were so delighted to hear that they want to move forward in achieving a local historic property status. That is actually going to be co-sponsored with Historic Properties of Greenwich that you may remember was here earlier this year as they move towards achieving local historic property status. So I have a tendency to go on, and I will stop right there to see if any of you have any questions about this wonderful, wonderful site.
Thank you, Ann. Yes, just for clarification for somebody who may be watching this who's not really that familiar with Putnam Cottage, Putts Hill, or Knapp's Tavern, then the history there. Some people would think that's already been designated as a historic landmark. And if we do this and it achieves it, what does that mean for that building?
Well, this is a very unique property because you're absolutely right. It presently has its own distinction being on the National Register, and it's also a contributing structure to the Putnam Hill Historic District, which is a group of buildings in that area that is on the National Register. What this does is this ensures that the property really is going to be maintained as it currently is in perpetuity. Any changes that the owners of Putts Cottage wish to make will have to go through to receive a certificate of appropriateness by the Historic District Commission. And as you know, the easiest reference to use is the Bush Holly House, which has seen a number of restorations and additions to their site, but it's been done in an appropriate manner. So knowing that changes can happen is one that all owners of local historic property should be very comfortable with, but it's also going to be done in an appropriate way, and it's going to be overseen by the Historic District Commission, which is part of the town, not necessarily someone from the state or someone from the federal government. And right now, even though it does have the two distinctions of being on the National Register, it doesn't necessarily protect it from demolition. And if it does prove that, an approval is required by the state, you're going to have someone come in that isn't always necessarily familiar with all the nuances that a local entity would have in regards to what would be an appropriate change for the site. So we're very excited about this, and we're hoping that the owners of Putz Cottage and all its different constituents, because as you know, while it does have a meeting place for the DAR, there are many other like-minded organizations that use that site to host meetings.
Okay, thank you for the clarification for anybody watching who may not know that history. Certainly, I think there'd be a rebellion if somebody tried to take this structure down. So I think you'll have 3 yes votes here, but I'll turn it over to my colleagues for questions and comments.
No questions from me. Thanks, Anne, for bringing it to our attention.
And no questions from me. I had the pleasure of getting a tour on the 4th of July. There was an open house. It's fascinating if anyone hasn't had a tour. I didn't grow up in Greenwich, so I wasn't one of the school children who got one of those tours. I just thought it was, it's quite the property, that it's a gem for Greenwich. So thank you.
May I just make a request? I do know that there are some people who are involved with the property that may or may not want to speak. And I didn't know if that was an opportunity maybe for them just to introduce themselves to you all. I don't know if that's appropriate or not, but I want to just at least offer that possibility to happen here.
Absolutely, and let's see who's first, any hands are raised. I see Suzanne and Elise.
I unmuted Elise and Suzanne, but anyone else who may want to speak can raise their hand.
Okay, we see somebody in person.
Elise Green.
Elise, we have one person here that wanted to say something, and then we'll go right to you.
Sure.
Okay.
Of course.
Thank you.
Hi, it's Suzanne. Can you hear me?
Yeah, Suzanne, we have, we're going to go to somebody here first, and then Elise,
Oh,
and
okay.
then and then you.
Sure.
Thanks. Okay, Peter, you have the floor.
My name is Peter Alexander. Wait, I could handle that. My name is Peter Alexander, 75-year resident here, and my direct ancestor was Putnam's major, and they saved each other's lives. And I completely agree. Please don't touch it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Deeply prejudiced, by the way.
Thank you, Peter. Oh, good morning, Elise.
Good morning, everybody. Thanks for including us today, and what a wonderful presentation about this special house. And I loved Fred's comments that there'll be a rebellion if anyone tried to do anything. But guess what? This is what will ensure that nobody would ever look at that property as a great commercial piece of land. So we're going to help Historic Properties of Greenwich. We will help usher it through and guide through the process as much as we possibly can. We're looking forward to it.
Thank you so much, Elise. We really appreciate it. And Suzanne, good morning.
Hi, can you hear me?
Yeah, good morning.
Good morning. Thank you so much for everyone's support. It seems to have been unanimous the whole way along. This idea of pursuing the local historic designation was an outgrowth of the Israel Putnam House Association and the Putnam Hill chapter of the DAR revisiting their bylaws, and we're just trying to think about what we could do to really protect it going forward. And it's just so meaningful to me to have the support of Anne and Elise, who I've known my whole life, and to from a very young age, and to work with Historic Properties of Greenwich as a co-sponsor. So thank you so much to everybody for your support. It's very meaningful.
Well, thank you for your hard work there, Suzanne and Elise and Anne. Okay, so this is a first read. I don't think we're going to have any negative comments on this. There's just for clarification, there's no time urgency if we voted yes today or in 2 weeks.
Whatever is convenient and appropriate for you all.
Okay, I think you have 3 yes votes, but unless there's urgency, we usually wait 2 weeks in case the public wants to weigh in on something. So we'll do that, and then we'll give you a vote in 2 weeks.
Perfect. Thank you very, very much.
Thank you. Have a great day.
You too.
Thanks. Bye-bye. Okay, that's it. I think we know how that's going to go, but we do have to we'll wait 2 weeks and see what the public feedback is. Okay, public comment period. Do we have any public comments? Peter Alexander for a second time. Thank you.
Yes, it's Peter Alexander, landscape architect, specializes in coastal stuff. And I'm talking about Greenwich Harbor, and I'm not looking for money at this time for contractors. I only supervise. I do the planning. And I'd really like you guys to support me just as an idea, preferably before the Indian Harbor Commission, or I should say the Harbor Commission, meets next week. Again, this isn't a formal endorsement. It's just an acceptance of the idea that I've outlined starting in 2010, so 13 years. Maybe that'll bring me good luck. But I think the silt in Greenwich Harbor has enough attention now that we should not only take care of the 12 meters touching bottom at low tide, but also make sure there's a safe place for vessels to go in, which was the original concept of the area closest, ironically, to Horseneck. And that's where a lot of the silt, at least a third of the silt, comes from and can be easily managed. And I'd love to help the town, and I'd like to make you guys all look good, not bad, so give me a chance.
Thank you, Peter. Any questions or comments?
And thanks for printing this out, because what you sent in email, I think the font was some funky thing, at least what I was,
Windows 11's driving me crazy.
at least what I was able to.
Anyway,
And you're throwing us a curveball there. You're putting the land in blue, as in water, and the water is black. Water's not that bad there.
yeah, I just wanted to point out how easy, not yet.
Kidding. You
It
spelled
probably
it out,
was
so
at one time.
I got it. All right, I mean, again, certainly, I think
Individually, I'm not saying it has to be a consensus or anything.
Yeah.
It's just my latest idea to get things done.
I'll reach out to the chairperson there and say that you've come before us several times and that you'd like a fair hearing, which I know they will, and I know Janet's the liaison there. So
Right. Let me just add, we have heard, the Harbor Management Commission has heard you. You have come before it. And I believe what we said was that it's not up to us to give you work. Like what
I'm
you're.
not looking for work
So
on this.
what exactly are you asking for here?
A wink and a nod. So when I go to the Corps of Engineers and DEEP and so forth, that you think it's a good idea that we have duplicate testing and compare it to 2012. I was the first consultant called to the Love Canal in 1979, and I learned the hard way. Always get 2 samples, because the original samples or the single samples can be doctored. I don't mean to insult doctors, but it can be changed to the benefit of either the politicians or the contractors or the property owners.
historically, is it been your experience that they only go with 1 sample?
Yes, usually.
Okay.
But we can mirror. We've mirrored them before. They don't mind.
So it's sort of like what the carpenters say, measure twice, cut once.
But whose
good one, thank you.
responsibility as a town and, would be that second survey or second, I can't think today.
Too much pizza last night.
Like, I don't know that, like, does a private citizen do that, or is there some town department that would be more appropriate to facilitate a second sample?
Well, it would depend, I think, also if they're put out, how they do it. Could be an RFP, it could, they could go out, independently to a third party.
But what department within our structure
I
would own
I
that?
would ask that question to our legal department, and Amina Ahmad has been following, like, she is the lawyer who's assigned to the Harbor Management Commission. But you're right, it would be an RFP process. We wouldn't have individuals come to us, and we would not award that.
And we, as the Board of Selectmen, wouldn't either, so.
Right.
What department? Is it the
That's what
Harbor
I'm-
Management
That's what I'm
Commission?
saying. We would have we would have an RFP. But again, I would defer to Amina's legal opinion on that. But there is a process already in place. So I just want to be, straightforward with you.
This is totally privately financed, and my experience with the town of Greenwich 10 years ago, as a licensed landscape architect, I'm able to send a surveyor to any property in Connecticut. And when I sent my surveyor to, about concerns from the runoff from Western, he was threatened with arrest. And instead of kicking up a fuss and making things ugly for the town and keeping all the lawyers busy, we took a pass. But I'm not doing that anymore, so give me a second chance to get it right.
You were threatened with arrest?
No, he was.
Oh, okay.
I wasn't on the ground.
Okay. All right, thank you, Peter. I'll reach out to Amina. Thank you.
Okay.
Okay, any other comments? Not seeing any. Do we have appointments or nominations?
Not today.
Today, okay. Seeing no other business, is there a motion to adjourn?
Lauren Raven, so moved.
Janet Stone McWigan, I second.
All those in favor, Fred Camillo's a yes.
Lauren Raven, yes.
Janet Stone McWigan, yes.
Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Barbara. Thank you, Jenny. Thank you, Ken, and thank you, Don. Appreciate it.